views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hi guys, I'm Em, also known as the Hungry Dominican, and I'm your host for Foodie Down Bronx, where we'll catch up with artists, entrepreneurs, chefs, and foodies who make a part of the incredible and ever-growing Bronx food scene. So if you like to eat, get your appetites ready, and stay tuned. From BronxNet to the world, this is Foodie Down Bronx. Welcome to Foodie Down Bronx. Stay connected to us on Instagram at BronxNetTV, at Foodie Down Bronx, and follow me at The Hungry Dominican. On today's show, we'll talk to Rebecca Scott of Sustainable Snacks and Taste of the Bronx, and Chef Yadira Garcia, aka Happy Healthy Latina, about personal motivations, goals, social media, and of course, food. Our first guest is the CEO and founder of Sustainable Snacks, and her mission is to promote public health through better snacking, and she does that by offering gluten-free, soy-free, and vegan snacks with no refined sugar. Please welcome to the show, Rebecca Scott. Thank you, Rebecca, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you, Em.
It's great to see you. You and I just met for the first time a few days ago. We'll get to that in a little bit.
In real life.
Yeah, right?
We
in
met
IRL.
on Instagram
Yeah.
before that.
Instagram, I slid into your DMs,
Yeah.
and now we're here on the show. I guess that's how it works.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about. Like I mentioned, we just met over the weekend, and I was interested in your company right here, Sustainable Snacks. We have a mutual friend in Omar Canales who was actually on my first show. He's from Seis Vecinos, and he had told me about you, and he was like, you have to get her on the show. She's doing some really wonderful things here in the Bronx. So can you please tell us about Sustainable Snacks?
Yeah, of course. So Sustainable Snacks is committed to promoting public health through better snacking. That's my background. Americans now snack between 4 and 6 times each day, and flavor is the #1 driver when grabbing a snack on the go. So Sustainable Snacks is committed to righting the disassociation between flavor and nutrition. We develop snacks that are delicious. They have really bold flavor profiles, but are also made from ingredients that are doing something good for your health.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the ingredients that are actually involved here?
Yeah, so again, our goal is to build Sustainable Snacks into an umbrella company with many different nutrient-dense, delicious products underneath that umbrella. We've launched with our flagship line, which we call Chocolate Superfood Snacks. They have berries, nuts, spices, and a maple syrup-infused dark chocolate.
Right here.
Yeah, so this one has blueberries and pecans with nutmeg, cranberries and walnuts with cinnamon, cherries, almonds, and cayenne on the end, and then they're bound with a maple syrup-infused dark chocolate. It's 80% cocoa content with grade A maple syrup. It's literally our secret sauce. We're the first to bring this style of chocolate to market. We use the whole maple syrup, which makes us low glycemic and a rich source of antioxidants, and also a super clean, bold flavor profile.
That's awesome. So I'm assuming you were definitely a chocolate lover growing up?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there are so many therapeutic benefits attached to chocolate if you choose the right one. So if you choose chocolate that's 70% above and has no dairy, because if you add dairy to chocolate, your body can absorb the therapeutic properties. So yeah, what we've used here is the really, really good stuff. It tastes delicious, but it's also health supporting.
That's what I used to tell my mom when I wanted her to buy me chocolate. I was like, but it has like so many health benefits.
Yeah.
So like, why not buy me all the
Yeah,
chocolate?
if it's an Oreo, it's not doing
Oh no, I was
good
picking
for
like
your
the
health.
wrong chocolate, but I was still like, it's healthy.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting something out of it. And it's also 100% plant-based, right? Like it says so on top here. You have paleo, vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, as I mentioned before in the intro. Is there a specific reason why you needed to make sure that these things right here were highlighted?
Yeah, we want to make our products as accessible as possible, and so we do call out these different diets and highlight that the product is plant-based. That's really the kind of essence of our brand, is plant-based. We promote more plants than anything, not specifically a vegan diet, but the goal is to get everyone to eat more health-supporting plant-based foods, and so we're committed to developing snacks that are exclusively plant-based, so people have more delicious options.
And so, can you tell me when you started your journey with sustainable snacks? When did this come
Yeah,
about?
so formally 2 years ago,
Mhm.
there was definitely some testing that happened prior to that. I started testing out the concept at pop-up markets and food festivals around the city, but we formally launched at a big trade show 2 years ago at Expo East in September of 2017.
2017. And so that reaction from that expo was obviously positive, and that pushed you forward to continue with sustainable snacks.
Absolutely. The response has always been super positive to our flagship product line and branding. It's definitely been a learning curve. It's my first venture into the food industry, and so just because you have a delicious tasting food product doesn't necessarily mean you can move full speed ahead.
Right.
So I've really had to learn the ropes of the industry, and I've benefited a lot by a lot of community business programming like the Business Outreach Center, WELF, which is the Women's Entrepreneurship Action Loan Fund. I've really tried to arm myself with the knowledge and resources to grow sustainable snacks into the thoughtful superfood powerhouse I know it can become.
So, are you originally from the Bronx? Are you a Bronx
Not
girl?
originally. From a military family, moved around a lot, settled here in 2012.
Okay, so you've been a Bronx resident since, well, welcome to the Bronx.
Thank you.
So before you started sustainable snacks, what were you doing exactly? Because for me, it's like that's the most interesting thing about a lot of these people that I've met in the food industry, that they're not necessarily, they haven't been there from the get-go. It wasn't maybe the first thing that they started to do career-wise, and then they just sort of end there. So what were you doing before sustainable snacks?
Yeah, I can say I don't have a literal background in the food industry, but I have a relevant background. So I was working for public health nutrition programs here in the Bronx and Upper Manhattan, where I supported clients on improving their health outcomes by incorporating more whole plant-based foods into their diets. It was a really empowering experience because clients reversed prediabetes diagnoses, they went off hypertension medication, they reversed many different chronic illnesses. That's also my personal experience. I have lupus and no longer take medication after converting to a plant-based diet, so I've personally and professionally witnessed the healing power of plant-based foods.
Yeah, I've mentioned this so many times. I'm sure my producer's eyes are rolling. She's like, "Yes, Em, we know you went to a vegan thing for like 2 months." But I did really feel like the difference, 100%. And there were moments when I was like, maybe I should like really kind of stick to this. But then I saw a picture of steak, and I said, never mind. I'm just gonna go back to my old ways. But it does. There's no denying the benefits
Yeah,
of.
well, I believe that food is more than nutrition. It's community, it's culture. And so if you focus on plants but still indulge in the other foods that you really enjoy, it's all about balance.
Yes, for sure. Do you have a lot of friends who also have like a vegan plant-based diet? Do you find it easy to go out with friends and just, eat, or is it something that's discussed before?
Yeah, so in the industry, I have a lot of friends who are founders of plant-based companies, but in my tight friend group, I'm the only plant-based person.
Right.
So it is a challenge, but I always try to make my own dishes when we're getting together, and there are more and more options on menus.
So what kind of dishes do you prepare at home?
Just my mantra is keep it simple, especially since starting a business, it's really hard for me to find time to prepare things as I've traditionally liked to. I'm a member of a CSA, which is a great way to get budget organic produce. Right now, my approach is kind of throw seasonal veggies in the bowl and
Right.
add some hummus and maybe some quinoa.
And then sort of like just go from there.
Yeah, but working in public health, a lot of times I would prepare traditional foods in healthier ways. So herbs and spices are a great way to add flavor, add therapeutic value, and really enjoy a healthy version of your traditional favorites.
So when we return, I want to talk about, 'cause you mentioned, you have to make your own dishes at home, and sometimes with your business, it could be, you don't have enough time sometimes to do that. I do want to talk about that coming back, because I feel like when you have your own business, how do you manage your life and then, your business life and how that sort of impacts your every day-to-day, So we'll come back, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Foodie Down Bronx will be right back.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
Welcome back to Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, the Hungry Dominican. Just last week, I had the pleasure of heading over to Fordham Plaza for a little taste of the Bronx. Let's take a look. Hola, guys. We are here at Fordham Plaza at Taste of the Bronx. Let's go check it out. Ready? Just go. Hi, guys. Oh, hi. Hello. Hi, I'm Em reporting live to tape from Taste of the Bronx here in Fordham Plaza. And with me I have Paul, Anthony, and Rebecca of Taste of the Bronx. Hi, guys.
How you doing, Em?
Welcome to my segment.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to my segment.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome to my segment.
Great to be here.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so guys, can you tell me a little bit about Taste of the Bronx?
Yeah, Taste of the Bronx is a quarterly subscription box that features craft goods from all great Bronx artisanal folks. You know, from food items to actual just goods itself. Everything's meant to be a platform to further just Bronx entrepreneurs' business platform overall.
Anthony, I want to ask you the same question, but I feel like Paul already told me everything, so we're just going to go to Rebecca. Rebecca, could you tell me a little bit about what's in here?
Sure. So this is our summer-themed subscription box. We have a spicy cherry and almond sustainable snack, a postcard designed by From the Bronx, a natural citronella candle by Bamboo Candles and Soaps, a Taste of the Bronx apron for all of your barbecuing needs, and a soap by Eternile with homegrown herbs right here in the Bronx, and a From the Bronx pride pin.
I love that.
A hot sauce by Five Island Blend. So we decided that we knew how to get our stuff out there, but there are a lot of small businesses that focus so much on the day-to-day, they struggle on the marketing aspect and getting the word out about what they're doing. And so we thought, what better thing to do than put together a market and a subscription box
for these entrepreneurs to come and meet Bronxites where they're at.
Tell me, how can people get their hands on this box right here?
You can get your hands on the Taste of the Bronx box by visiting us at one of our monthly pop-up shops. To find the locations and the dates, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Taste of the Bronx. You can also visit our website, tasteofthebronx.com, for a calendar. If you do not live in the Bronx and you want to get this box delivered to your house, and trust me, you do, go to tasteofthebronx.com and sign up for a year subscription.
Hey guys, so if you had to describe the actual taste of the Bronx, what does the Bronx taste like?
Proud. In the summer, slightly salty.
Good answer.
I would say spicy.
I like it. Thank you guys so much. Guys, this is my first tape segment, and I'm really excited. So I'm going to close this segment right now by pointing to myself back in studio. You go, Em. Great job, Em. Looking good, buddy. Can someone say Pulitzer, or is it too soon? I don't know. Also, how come I sound like Brick Tamlin in that clip from Anchorman? Like, you should have told me I was yelling so much. I'm yelling so much, I feel like I woke up everyone's baby. Anyway, Rebecca and I ran back to the studio. Rebecca's a co-founder of Taste of the Bronx. So that's also very cool to know, the fact that you are the co-founder of Taste of the Bronx. Can you tell me about your partnership with Paul and Anthony?
Yeah, of course. Sustainable Snacks is committed to scaling here in the Bronx and really empowering other Bronx brands. It's been very meaningful for me to educate consumers on the fact that we're based here in the borough. And so I teamed up with Paul and Anthony, who are other super successful Bronx business owners.
With great hair.
I'm humbled with great hair. I'm humbled to be able to work with them on this, but we thought it would be amazing to team up and really raise awareness to Bronx brands. And so it's been a particularly meaningful venture. It's all about community empowerment.
That's very awesome. So I'm going to have a little bit of your snacks here, because I had told you as much when we met last week that this right here, spicy cherry and almonds with sea salt, is my favorite. This is super delicious. I mean, they're all delicious, don't get me wrong, but this right here, amazing. So before we went to the break, I had mentioned to you that I wanted to talk to you about how you sort of balance your life and business. And you had mentioned something to me at Taste of the Bronx about something about, you said it was called anti-hustle, this idea that because you're so busy and your business takes up so much of your life that there's sort of pushback from certain people when it comes to the idea of you constantly being on the go. How do you feel about that? And how is it running a business pretty much on your own?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I did mention there's a lot of discourse surrounding this notion of hustling right now, and there is, in fact, a lot of pushback. Generally, when I'm in front of a camera or on social media, I'm showing a very romantic view of the businesses I run, and don't get me wrong, they're so meaningful, but it is a lot of hard work. And I think at this stage, I am trying to evaluate a little bit more about how I can have more of a balance, but to be honest, I put all of my time into my businesses right now.
I'm sorry, I just got caught up in my emotion. This is really good stuff, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Give me one more second here.
Yeah, sure.
I got a good chunk right here, and I got to go for it. This is so good.
That one's a great combination of many different flavors, so it's a little tart, spicy, salty,
I like the spiciness.
Sweet, and bitter from the dark chocolate.
I love the spiciness. I think that's that little kick that I'm getting a ton of right now. It's very, very good.
Put some pep in your stuff.
It's very, very good. So clearly this is like an alternative to unhealthy snacks. I can say that undoubtedly for me, I've had some pretty bad eating habits growing up. And I didn't have a great relationship with food because I just felt like I just needed it just to have it in my system and not really paying attention to what, sort of came about with the food. It's just like, I want to eat it, give it to me, whatever. Did you by any chance maybe have the same type of relationship? Were you always good with your food habits growing up? Were you always, even though, entering the food world maybe not the thing that you were aiming to go into, but did you always have interest in food growing up, or is it just sort of something that came later in life?
Yeah, I've always had an interest. I'm actually the oldest of 7 and grew up preparing a lot of the meals for my family. So developing recipes and tasty meals as something
Right.
that I've literally done since a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely my understanding of the science behind food and the therapeutic benefits is something that evolved with time. As I mentioned with lupus, I was diagnosed in college, and there was literally a time where I couldn't get out of bed. My body was so stiff and inflamed, and I was prescribed all different steroids and pharmaceuticals that had really negative ramifications on my gut health and quality of life. And so I knew there had to be a better way, and
Right.
that's when I really, studied my master's and moved into plant-based and learned that food truly is fuel.
Absolutely.
But it should also taste delicious. You don't have to
Like
compromise.
spicy cherry and almonds
Yeah,
with sea
exactly.
salt. Are there any places in the Bronx that you like to visit? Any restaurants specifically that you like to go to?
Yeah, I feel like I should shout out Seis Vecinos.
Absolutely. That was a trick question.
yeah.
That's the only answer
The
that you should
only
be giving.
answer.
It's the only answer to that question.
And while I'm at it, the Bronx Beer Hall.
Yes.
I love Suyo Gastrofusion as well.
Awesome spot. For
I
sure.
think they're doing a really great job of putting a spin on traditional foods and celebrating the Bronx in a really unique way.
Yes, for sure. They have a great staff too. Great staff there. Chef Andy, of course. Have a beautiful entranceway, beautiful bar area. It's a great spot. Yeah, for sure. So Bronx Beer Hall, which you can kind of say why you like Bronx Beer Hall. That's Paul and Anthony.
can
It says
disclose that,
you
yeah.
can disclose the information as to why.
Yeah, I'm business partners with the owners.
That is a great spot, though. I've had many wonderful moments there that I can't really remember because beer was involved, but it was fun.
Those are the best moments.
Can you tell me a little bit about Taste of the Bronx? For those who don't know, it's actually you can get a monthly box shipped to your home, and we showed it in the clip there. Can you tell me a little bit more about how people can get their hands on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one arm of the business. There are a few arms to it, but the subscription box is delivered to your doorstep once a quarter. Each box has a different theme and celebrates a variety of different Bronx brands. So as you saw in the video, we're currently vending our summer box, which has great paraphernalia for barbecuing and being outdoors. We're gearing up for a fall box. You can subscribe at tasteofthebronx.com. And also we sell them at our monthly pop-up markets.
So where do you have the monthly pop-up markets? Because the Fordham Plaza one, I was told, was the first time you guys had it in a public space. Is that correct?
Yeah, so as I mentioned just now, our goal at Taste of the Bronx is really to celebrate the community. So that means the brands that are based here, but also different institutions and spaces. So we just had a pop-up at Fordham Plaza, but we actually move every month. And so
Okay.
we partner with different institutions that align with our values. So we had an event at Wedco. We have had an event at the Arthur Avenue Retail Market. Next month we'll be somewhere else. So a great way to stay on top of our market schedule is to follow us on Instagram. And we
Okay.
also have the dates and locations on the website.
Do you guys plan the boxes far in advance, or is it sort of like maybe just instinctively, like you know what to put into it for a certain month, or do you guys have like the whole year planned out already?
Well, through the market format, we've had the chance to work with a large number of different Bronx brands, which is great because it means we have an assortment of goods that we can source. And so this is a new venture, and the partners on Taste of the Bronx all have other businesses. So we're
Right.
still learning how to plan and schedule these
Right.
things in advance. But, right now it's a few weeks to a month out. And again, since we've started the markets as well, we know a lot of Bronx brands. And so as we think about the season and the quarter and what makes sense, we have a great list
Awesome.
of people we can source products from.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. All right, guys, since I'm always telling you to grab a snack, why not make it a sustainable one, right? Visit sustainablesnacks.co and follow Susnacks on Instagram to find out more. Also, check out at Taste of the Bronx on Instagram and visit tasteofthebronx.com for more information. We're taking a quick break. Foodie Down Bronx will be right back.
Show me love. got a creak in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. Let's get on. It's very sad when all that I can do was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
Welcome back to Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, M, the Hungry Dominican. Our next guest is a community foodtivist, certified natural food chef, vegetable pusher, and sofrito slinger. She recently hosted a cooking class at Dykeman Houses where elected officials and many in the community showed up for what no doubt was some truly delicious food. Please welcome to the show, Chef Yadira Garcia, aka the Happy Healthy Latina.
Hey. Hola. Hola, hola, hola.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm super excited. I loved you right the moment I met you. We met, was it a month or two ago?
Yes, we broke bread together,
We
which is an
broke
important
bread
thing
together.
to me.
That's right. We met at Rosanna.
Yes.
Rosanna's Melanin Magic Brunch.
Yes.
Right?
Bomb.
And it was so much fun. And you were the one who convinced me to get a quinoa bowl because I had just started my vegan summer.
You were sad. You
I
had
was
the
really
sads,
sad.
because everyone was sampling all the food, and I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
"We gonna be all right."
I was not
Right?
okay. I was bugging out. I was like, oh great, keep bringing more stuff that I can't have. This is amazing. And everyone's taking their pictures and this and that. And I'm just like, no, I want to be good about it. And then you were like, my man, just get the quinoa bowl. And I was
I
like,
have a little sauce in there. I'm
I
a
was
little
like,
sauce boss. I'm
okay.
like, "¿Qué salsita you got?"
Yeah,
You know, we hook it up.
it was awesome. So it was a great time. So it was wonderful meeting you. And the show hadn't started yet. And I knew already that I wanted you on the show because you do some really incredible things that, I'll be honest, before this whole endeavor, I wasn't really paying attention to too many things that people were doing when it came to food activism, food justice, cooking classes. It was more about where can I get my next meal as opposed to the people behind it. And then I found out about you and I was like, holy smokes, she does some amazing things. And your account really kind of started making me pay attention to things and to chefs and people with the sort of same mission that you have. So can you tell me a bit about your Instagram, what it is that you do, all of the activism that you're a part of? It's super fascinating.
Eek! Okay, so Happy Healthy Latina is me, is us, is the community, right? It's the platform that I run and really is the movement that I run. And food is deeply intersectional. We all got to eat. Right. So it's not a me, it's not a you thing, it's an everybody thing, right? And we all contribute to that in a different way. And most of us just think about it as when the food shows up kind of on our plate. But we don't know what we don't know. And I realized through a health crisis and issue of my own that I had no idea how to use food as a tool other than to fill my stomach.
Yes. I relate to that 100%.
Right?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
I wasn't born woke, as I like to call it, right? I didn't grow up and like, oh, we got to go fight for food justice and get our kids healthy in our community, right? It was the absence of health in my own life that brought to light. I was 20 years old, my ancestors' wildest dreams. I'm from the Dominican Republic via the BX, right? But I'm first generation from DR, and everything was about, my parents immigrating here, live your best life, you have to get a college degree, you have to make it. But I had a really bad accident in college, my junior year at NYU, that left me totally legally disabled.
Oh, wow. 4
herniated discs, a pinched nerve, and a broken tailbone. So I was like,
wow.
Right? Stuck in my body. And as I realized, your body is your instrument, is your tool. And food is what gives it the GPS and the directions for what to do or what to go, right? If you're going to get up and
someone please make this a meme,
right?
Or something, a GIF.
Food is like the directions, the gas in the tank that says if you're going to hi-ya or if you're going to, or, either way. And then I realized, hey, how come my great-grandmother, who was 99 years old, was chopping down sugar cane in the farmlands, had her machete, she was super strong, she would make her own sofrito, she would cook her foods, and she was pretty healthy. But I was seeing kids that were obese. I was seeing myself at 20 years old locked up in my body. And then I was seeing how people were aging in this society. And I'm like, there's something in the food, honey.
Yes.
Or as BP Eric Adams says, it's in our dinner, not in our DNA. Right? So I started to make that connection that food plays such a deep role in our community, from the way that it heals us, from the way that it shows up, from if we have access to it or if we don't.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
Food is political.
Yes. And I've learned that through the guests on this show and just reading up on more things about that. It's completely politicized. And it's something that once you know, you can't unknow. Right? Like you can't unsee it. And so, and I've said as much on the show and to my producer as well, Sanji, that I've said, like, there are things that once you learn them about food, you really have to be careful about your relationship with it.
And Hunty, we are not the real estate developers, but how do the chicken spots, the liquor spots, the bodegas, the options that we have in our community show up, right?
Yes.
Because I also don't believe the myth that we don't want to be healthy or that we don't like good food, okay? There are celebration foods in our communities. I'm all about the moro and the pernil and the pasteles and all that, but I'm also about the yuca, the plátano, the sofrito, the oregano, the culantro.
Yeah.
Woo, we have a rich history. You would not like that pernil if I didn't season it with some fresh vegetables or sofrito.
So true.
Right?
So true.
So we also have to break down the myth that we don't like vegetables or that we don't like fresh food. That's all we come from in our cultures.
So true. Wow. I'm like literally like I'm like lost in your words right now because it's so true. This idea that I can't. I'm trying to think. I'm like I don't know if like vegetables were pushed on me growing up, but you're right. It's like that's a majority of what we have at home.
I say I grew up on the SAD diet, Standard American and Dominican diet. So while I did grow up, I grew up here in the Bronx in the 90s, right? I had access to McDonald's and Taco Bell and pizza and all that, and I thought that was delicious. But then also at home, we were having rice and beans. Yeah. We were making pasteles together as a family. We were making the masa with the plátanos. I grew up being sent to the Dominican Republic every summer till I was 16. So I saw the connection to the farmlands. And then being told here that we don't eat healthy foods, I'm like,
hold up,
wait a minute. Let me put some truth back in it, right?
Yeah.
So that's where Happy Healthy Latina was born from. A movement of joy, of knowledge, of reconnection to our food and our roots, and not just giving it to our elders and community members, but starting with the seed, which is our youth.
Yes.
Our kids.
Yes.
What? Where we learned this stuff in school? I know I learned about some weird history, some weird Eurocentric history and some other things, but who taught me where my food comes from? How do you grow up to be happy and healthy if you don't have a roadmap to get there?
Right. Wow. I feel like I want to just put everything you just said on a T-shirt. It's just amazing. Can you tell me about these schools, the greening school food that you have, these classes that you partake in? Tell me more about that, because it really does seem like it's a celebration. Like you said, it's food is we have this relationship with it. It's being happy. It's being joyful. And I see that on your Instagram. I see a lot of positive images on your Instagram. It seems like everyone's just in this
It's
with
a
you.
party. Food, it does not have to be punitive. You know, when I met you, you were at the beginning of your journey of being plant-based for 2 months, and I saw some of your sadness. And I said, but we don't have to focus on what we can't have.
Yeah.
We can focus on all the things we can have.
Absolutely.
Right? So when I became a chef, that's why I say I'm the people chef. I've never cooked in a restaurant, ever. I only cook on farms and schools in my community because I don't want to move up out of my hood. I want to move back into it with this knowledge and tools,
That's
right?
amazing, yeah.
And I want to see more Black and brown chefs, and I want to see more of this kind of programming so they had to see it to be it. So I decided
Representation. Yeah.
representation. You know, I was cooking at Marble Hill last week, and when these little girls, these 10 campers, found out that I was Dominican and they were Dominican, they absolutely lost it. After that, I knew the mushrooms were sold. I said,
Done.
I'm gonna put some sofrito on it. They're gonna eat it. They were so happy. Like, Chef Yadi, can we take pictures with you with the mushrooms and the vegetables? So it's that. So I decided to take that same training from culinary school or from restaurants or from fancy farms that can sometimes be elitist and hard to access, and come back into the Bronx with it, come back into our urban farms, our community gardens, our schools, our churches, our street corners. If you give me a milk crate, I'll stand there and I'll make sofrito on the corner. That's where I want to be, grounding down in my community. And we're growing a movement. There's a small child army out there that's getting educated and is learning how to get this training so then they can have jobs. And when I'm viejita, they can keep going with it.
Right. And you want to create that ripple effect, you know, of sending out the message that, you know, I'm Dominican, I'm doing this. You guys don't have to leave the Bronx to find good alternatives, you know, good food.
We can have green spaces. We can have healthy products. We can have culturally relevant and heritage-based foods. You can have your moro. You can have your rice and beans. That's okay. It's not just smoothies and salads that are healthy. Honeys. Right?
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true. You went to DR how long ago? It was a few months ago or
like 2 months, like a month ago.
A month ago, yeah. And I was watching all the things that you were eating and talking about, and I was, first of all, I haven't been to DR in so long that anytime I see anybody there, I just like, ay Dios mío, por favor. I would go right away. That it was really actually your account was really awesome to see DR through that prism, that lens, right? Because you were showing a lot of the delicious natural foods that people have access to there, and putting
that's
out.
abundant.
It's abundant, right?
Because it's local, it's seasonal. You know all those fancy marketing terms companies try to push on us. We grew up like that, honey. Local, seasonal, fresh. What you have access to, what's around you. I'm just trying to recreate that same prison here, which is. We don't come from lands of scarcity. We don't come from lands of without access to these things, to these fresh foods, and to these stories, right? So I want those stories to stay alive. We pass them down through food, through recipes, through traditions, through building healthy communities holistically.
So you were featured on BuzzFeed, Picky Eater, which is super great, and you have an amazing YouTube channel as well. Can you tell me about your exposure on BuzzFeed?
Yeah, again, there's a whole culinary highway, and I'm over here driving in my own lane because a lot of people are the fish and meat kind of people and potatoes people, right? And I've come into the community, my community, with like, I'm gonna be the vegetable slinger, right? Because I know, like I said, growing up from Dominican Republic and seeing things that all the flavor from our foods comes from blending herbs and vegetables and creating a sauce or a flavor profile. So I was able to kind of take those skills and my culinary training and develop a show with BuzzFeed. So on the creative side, this is social justice too. To get people's phobia away from vegetables. Food is just alchemy. If you know how to saute, stew, braise, marinate, make a sauce, I can make it taste like anything, right? And so I love to bring in people that absolutely think that they hate something. Because the only thing constant is change. Right? So once I can understand if you like salty, sweet, sour, tangy, we're making those flavors match. And then you can do that for yourself. And that's the true empowering gift and joy. So the BuzzFeed show has a couple of million views. The videos are between 5 to 8 million views. And I truly believe that's the thing in it, because we come in with that joy and celebration.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm going to make that veggie taste like what you like. You like
Yes.
spicy, girl? You like sweet? You like salty? Ow.
Mm-hmm,
Okra? Right? That's the new one for this summer. Not okra, it's okra.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I love about, you know, going out and going to dinners and events is that I do have a perceived notion about certain foods, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna eat that. I'm not gonna like that. And being proven wrong is actually the best thing for me.
It's so fun.
It's amazing. Like, okay, so, and maybe we'll do this another time, but my thing is bacalao.
Oh.
I do not like bacalao, right? And so if you could ever make a dish
God.
that would just make me not realize it's bacalao or not taste what I think I don't like about it, then girl, we could be like friends forever. Yeah. All right, guys, grab yourselves a snack. Foodie Down Bronx will be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to Foodie Down Bronx. All right, chef, so tell me what we have here, this beautiful spread.
This is what we're going to, te vamos a poner a cocinar today.
Ay, okay.
We're gonna make sofrito. Sofrito is the basis of any Caribbean dish, and it's what makes it taste good. So imagine eating all of these vegetables in a bowl versus being able to blend it up and season your food with it, right? So this is one of my tips and tricks, because a lot of the seasonings that we have in our community have been sold back to us with a lot of sodium, salt, sugar, fats, and that is not what your abuelita, titis, and aunties were using in the food. They were picking the fresh herbs. And a lot of the work that we're doing around food equity in the city actually has to do about this, that we want to see this. Do you know what this is?
Dime.
Esto es recao, culantro, right? Wide leaf cilantro, right? So smell that.
Amazing.
That we want to see these foods growing in our community. And it's a really, really exciting time in the city right now, because the Speaker of the City Council has just prioritized food equity in New York City. So food justice is like a big deal now in the city, which we're very excited that the movement is catching up. The city's catching up with where the movement is, which is that we're fighting to see these foods grown not upstate, not in another state, right here in the Bronx.
Right.
FUBU, for us, by us, right? So we're gonna put you here with the pilon, right? Because our ancestors had it right.
That's right.
We're gonna break down all these vegetables, blend them. I like to put them in a nice cube tray, and bam, you have a little flavor bomb right there. So when you wanna season your food, you don't have to use that sazon packet and go sazon bay on it, because it has so much sodium in it. So crush this garlic for me, Em.
Absolutely.
We're gonna do, and the
Will
ancestors knew in the pilon, because actually it's very medicinal to crush your garlic. If you can do it up to 10 minutes before you start cooking, something magical happens, and it's called the allicin releases. It becomes more bioavailable, and so it fights inflammation in your body. Did my abuelita know this? No, but look at the magic. They were already doing these things. So a lot of things that science has caught up, that people get masters for, and MPH and doctors, the ancestors were already magicians and alchemists.
Right.
So they knew that the healing was in the food, right? So it's not the flavor. So whenever someone someone was starting to cook at home, and I love that sofrito is like a raw, vegan, paleo, all these fancy marketing techniques.
All those buzzy words.
All those
right?
buzzy words, right? And all this fresh stuff. So we're gonna blend up cilantro, some culantro recao, which we're trying to get more of our farmers to grow. And then we're gonna use this right here, which is, smell this, the naranja agria.
Ay, Dios mío.
Oh, that grows in Dominican Republic fresh, right? So you can buy this in bodegas and Latin supermarkets, and you can see this is kind of like the ingredients for a really bomb fresh salsa, right? So what you're doing is, instead of having to eat all these herbs, you're blending them, and you can really just do a rough chop. I love that you don't have to have any special knife skills for this. You can just
break it up, right?
break it up and blend it.
Am I
And
doing this right?
smell, yeah.
I keep smashing it. I'm like,
Ooh,
am I
look.
over smashing or am I just?
No, and look at that beautiful
I did that. guys.
release. You did that.
that's all
You
me.
did that. So if you wanted to make a mofongo, you could put some olive oil in there and your plátano in there, mash it in there too. That would have such bomb flavors. And what is that?
goodness.
That's all vegetarian too, right? It's
Right.
todo basado en
Right.
planta.
That's right. That's right. This is
So-
the most cooking I've done in like forever. Right? I just did this right now.
Well, I'm super busy with community cooking classes and shooting and a lot of stuff. So this is also for me a way that I make sure that I get all my kind of vegetables into.
Right,
So no
right.
matter what I cook or season, whether it's a piece of tofu, a piece of fish. Also smell this. This is Dominican oregano.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right?
That is beautiful.
Ah,
wow,
so all
that smells
this,
so good.
all this, you start to salivate, right? So it don't
Tengo
matter what
hambre
kind
ya.
of vegetables I put this on, you gonna eat them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it's the art of learning, not forcing yourself to eat things you don't like, but finding those celebration points of the flavors you do like in your heritage.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Absolutely.
So I do need your strength here.
Okay.
I need to open this. So one thing that I do, this is my grandmother and mother's recipe, but I did update it with some culinary medicine, which is traditional Dominican sofrito does use a little olive oil and a little bit of vinegar. So I use apple cider vinegar because the apple cider vinegar is really good for inflammation,
Yes. Right.
right? You could put it on your skin too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
tell
you
me
know
more. I
people
had no idea about that.
yeah, it's a really good toner and cleanser. But you can also, you ultimately want to be able to eat anything that you put on your skin or in your body, right? You don't want it to be harmful for you. So if it has ingredients that you don't recognize, we don't want to be using that, right?
okay,
So all
okay.
these things, I think you know where they come from.
Sí, claro.
Claro,
Claro.
and we're trying to get them to grow in New York City in our community gardens and in our farms. Because if people can access the things for their sofrito, or for making their own adobo, or for growing their own beans for their moro, then guess what? They're going to eat it more, right? If kids know where to find that stuff and we make it in a way that's delicious and beautiful, guess what? They're going to eat it more.
Right.
Right? This
Right.
isn't brain science.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the type of inspiration I never had growing up. Like everything you're saying, it's like, you know, and I said this to Karen Washington, who was here from Rise and
I
Root
love
Farm.
Karen Washington.
I don't remember the last time I was in a farm or a garden for that matter.
They're
you know?
right here in
And
the BX, baby.
Yeah, I love that, and I just feel like this is something that could have. I mean, it's instrumental now for everyone, of course.
Yep.
But I think it would have changed my relationship with food had I known everything that you're sort of putting out there.
So that's absolutely what I'm trying to do. And every time you ask a child when they visited a farm, they usually got taken upstate on a trip somewhere or far away when the matrix is right here in their community. So we're connecting our schools to the lands and the resources they have around them, the joy around cooking. We're gonna blend this up. Ah, look at that.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, bright, vibrant color.
What do we have here?
Some sweet plantain
Some sweet
chips.
platanitos.
Some
Beautiful.
Some sweet platanitos done in coconut oil. So I do say eat your tostones, my people, but do them in coconut oil.
Yeah, right,
Right? Because
right.
coconut oil doesn't clog our heart. So that's what Happy Healthy Latina is about. Finding these traditional ways, finding this education and knowledge, fighting systemic inequities by showing local electeds and officials that we do want and need these foods in our communities.
Absolutely.
Being able to articulate that, right? And being able to find ways to access and enjoy. So I don't know if you ever use sofrito as a dip, but
Let me take a quick picture for the gram
I use it for dip with chips. I put it on my burgers. I thin it out with a little apple cider vinegar, and I make a sofrito vinaigrette as a salad dressing. What can't we do? It's an all-purpose sauce. So let's take a little bit of this, and again,
Oh yes. Ay, Dios mío.
So a lot of salsas have really weird, funky ingredients in them. A lot of salt. You see any salt up here? We didn't use any salt. We didn't use any preservatives. Right now, you're fighting inflammation. You're healing your body. You're connecting to a traditional recipe. You could put this in your freezer, and if your boy is busy all week, you could go cook some veggies next week or some fish. It's a powerful thing to reclaim making your own sofrito and sazones. Just that one thing.
Wow, and the taste is unbelievable.
You can grow many of these herbs on your windows, in classrooms, in schools, right?
Girl, give me 1 second. Every time they put food in front of me, I'm like, guys, you're just gonna record me like in the moment because this is so
And
good.
then you taste garlic, and then you taste the peppers.
Yes.
And then you taste the cilantro and the recao running down your gums, and then you have an experience and a journey, right?
Goodness.
So it's not just about pesto and kale, right? I'm over here at City Hall. I made the Manhattan Borough President chant sofrito for nutrition education.
You make I love the way you speak about food because you make it very poetic, very very visual.
Thank you.
You know, I think you have a great energy about you. And even when we had met at the brunch, I could tell that you just were so passionate about food. And I mean, right now I could like taste the passion.
And I think that's the way that we eat, right? It's not just like carbohydrates and fiber and proteins and nutrients and macros. No, it's stories. It's Christmas time. It's me tying the pasteles with my abuelita. It's having that moment with a child when I first bring them to the farm in the Bronx.
Right.
And it will really make me cry because I'm very, very fortunate to do what I do in my community.
Tell me more about that because that's so beautiful that you do that. How does that make you feel? Besides, of course, you know.
It makes me feel deeply blessed because this started with my own wellness journey, and now to see each year, this is our 3rd year really in the community, to see that I have a team, that we have a company, that we're growing a movement, that we have 9 contracts. We have a Parks Department contract. We're in a school in the South Bronx. PS595X is going to be a Happy Healthy Escuela starting in September. We work with re-entering citizens or non-for-profits. We work with NYCHA in our community. It's really spreading and taking fire.
That's so beautiful.
6 elected showed up to...
When you had your event at the Dyckman House,
I didn't even know.
That's amazing. That's
incredible.
incredible.
A state senator, a congressman, an assembly person, the director of NYCHA Communities and Initiatives. People are watching. The community is taking note. And when we can break bread together at the table and come up with solutions, and they see them enjoying the food and that this is the kind of programming that we want, people talking to people is how change happens.
Absolutely.
So I may not be an MPH, a doctor, a lawyer, a senator. I'm just a girl from the Bronx that is very passionate. I'm just a regular, degular, schmegula girl, right? Like AOC and Cardi. I'd be like, listen, there's a reason dreams are deposited in you. It's just a goal with a deadline. So I'm just out here trying to do it for my community and do it together.
I think, oh man, I always go back to the same message when it comes to this show and having this platform. Like, this is exactly the type of thing I want people to hear. This is exactly the type of influence that people on social media need to be influenced by. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because there's so much out there that's just empty and nothing comes of it. And then you have this movement going with food, and you're bringing people together from communities. You're living out your dream by affecting other people who therefore will have their own dreams because of what you're doing. Like, it's just this beautiful like ripple effect and it keeps going and going. You know what I mean?
I see so much of my work mirrored in what I see in nature and farming and gardening, with the seed, from when you put the love into it, from how it grows, with a little water, sunshine, knowledge, and love. Almost anything will take root wherever it is planted. So
Girl,
here we
you
are.
are just, you're so awesome. Thank you.
Thank
so
you
much
for
being
having me.
Thank you.
Let's
You
eat
are-
this sofrito.
You don't even have to tell me
We're
twice.
gonna share this. We're gonna finish this off.
Guys, thank you for joining me and the Happy Healthy Latina Chef Yadira Garcia. Stay connected with Chef Yadira Garcia on Instagram at Happy Healthy Latina. Well, that's all for the show, guys. Thank you again for tuning in, and thank you to our guests today for joining us. Tune in every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. here on BronxNet Optimum 67 and Fios 33. Also tune in on the go at bronxnet.org and find us on YouTube. From BronxNet to the world, this is Foodie Down Bronx. I'm your host, Em, the Hungry Dominican. Remember to feed your mind, feed your body, and if you see me coming along, feed me. Adios, guys. Oh,
Don't miss our celebration of hip-hop's 46th birthday with the Hip Hop Takeover. Tune in on Sunday, August 11th at midnight to Optimum 68 and Fios 34, and then switch over to Optimum 67 and Fios 33 at 12 noon as BronxNet presents 24 continuous hours of your favorite hip-hop shows and specials. That's Sunday, August 11th, starting at midnight on the network that honors 46 years of hip-hop, BronxNet.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children. She didn't know what to do.
Did you have a good day at school?
She gave them some broth without any bread.
There you go.
And kissed them all soundly.
Night-night.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.